Katie from Nerd Church here. Um, today, I want to have a little short video. Again, this is one of my, view from the moon videos talking about the role that prayer and praying for people has in Catholic life. This is an example from my own experience that I think will be illuminating because I can also provide you the footnotes. So let's get to it. Okay, a friend of mine injured himself rather severely using a router. And I was concerned about him. And since we do not live in remotely the same part of the world, um, I had very little that I could actually do other than like express my good wishes and perhaps, indicate that maybe he should not have done what he did. Because when I told my 15-year-old, who is, as he is always proud to tell you, fully OSHA certified, he had about five different suggestions for how that operation could have been done in such a way that it would not have almost taken off someone's finger. Apparently, why didn't he just make his sons do it? Was high on the top of the list. um, so, I'm just throwing that out there. So, all I can do is pass along some advice from a, somewhat snotty 15-year-old. And I can express my own good wishes and I can encourage my friend to please take his antibiotics. But that's all I can do, really, right? But that doesn't feel like enough. And I'm Catholic. So my first instinct is to pray for someone. That's how it is, right? Now, there's two things that I want to lay out here first. Okay, my friend is an atheist. And I know that he was raised evangelical, so I asked him, can I light a candle for you? He understood that to mean I was saying, can I pray for you? And he said yes, because he doesn't care if people think nice things, if people are like expressing concern for him and his well-being and are thinking good thoughts about him, which is actually one of the things that prayer has been shown scientifically to do. That when people pray for another person, they are inclined to behave in pro-social ways towards that person. So, like, even if two people get in an argument and they both pray about it, and they pray for each other, a lot of times when they calm down and go and talk things out, or sometimes they don't even need to talk things out, they just need to move on depending on the people and their relationship and what needs to get done, that just that quiet time to think helps people. So it's like, and so like, and again, that does not require anything supernatural, right? This is saying that there is something about this specific human behavior that causes humans to behave in certain ways. But, I thought it would be polite to ask. And he said yes, and it was cool. Okay. So, this takes me to the second thing. Because you notice I didn't ask if I could pray for him. I asked if I could light a candle. Because those are two very slightly different things. Praying for someone can be like literally as time inconsequential as if someone sees an emergency vehicle driving by really fast, they might cross themselves and say like a quick Our Father, as just a way of sort of expressing the fact that somebody somewhere is having a problem and they can, at like the bare minimum that they can do is ask God to help the firemen get there in time. Because, of course, that's the other thing about Catholic prayer, is that it's not a replacement for antibiotics. It's not a replacement for doctors. It's not a replacement for helicopters. It's not a replacement for boats. It's acting, it's basically like it's blowing on the dice before you throw them, right? It's finding your lucky dice, because you know that if you roll those dice, you're more likely to roll a 6 or a 20. And, sometimes just having that little bit of confidence, or that little bit of like, okay, I don't have to worry about that part because, like, luck is taken care of. All I need is skill. And you can develop skill. And you can look for luck if you believe that luck is out there, right? So that's kind of what prayer does in a Catholic view, right? So that's the other thing that you have to understand. The second thing, again, remember, I said, I didn't ask, can I pray for you? Because I could have done that in 30 seconds. But this was my friend. So I asked, can I light a candle for you? Because lighting a candle for someone means, if you saw the thumbnail for this, that's what it looked like. I took a physical object, I brought it to church, and I said a prayer, and I prayed for I said in Our Father, and I prayed for my friend and his healing, and then I lit it on fire. Because now, as long as that candle is burning, effectively, there's a little part of me. There's a little part of a connection. There's a little offering. There's a little piece of that prayer that is sitting at the feet of Jesus for that's a 7-day candle, and sometimes you're lucky and they last for 8. So for the next 8 days, that's happening continuously. Now, I had to buy the candle, because candles aren't cheap, but candles are sold at a highly subsidized rate. So that basically everybody's pretty much moving it along at cost. Except for the candle manufacturer. The candle manufacturer is making enough money to stay in business manufacturing candles. But the middlemen are pretty much selling at cost or a very small markup. And at my church, frankly, any markup is either going to St. Vincent de Paul or it's going to pay for the donuts. So I'm not going to complain. So I lit a candle. So that prayer is going on for a long time. But that took effort and that took planning and it took, a couple of bucks. And so for me, that was also an expression of my level of concern, right? My level of concern was not just pray. My level of concern was set up a mechanism by which prayers are going to be offered continuously because, frankly, I have a concern about my friend. Because, I had a concern. But now I don't have as much of a concern because now it's taken care of. So there we go. That's what it looks like. Now, I would like to point out, just in closing, that if any of my friend's relatives become aware of me having lit this candle for him, please rest assured it was set at the feet of Jesus Christ. I have photographic evidence. You can see the wound in the foot. So at best, it was like a little bit of like brushing up against idolatry, but no actual idolatry was committed. It was not engraved, it was sculpted. I think we might be good. So anyway, have a great rest of your day, and I hope everyone takes their antibiotics and enjoys having socialized medicine.